This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good morning, 7 o'clock right now on this Thursday, and we're waking up to some rain. Some people are even seeing some lightning.
Yeah, and our storm trackers out there, we're seeing how much it's coming down in Indiana right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of rain, and it's really that torrential, in some cases near blinding rain that we are dealing with in some parts of our area. So for those of you in Indiana, this is where the majority of the rain has been to start off the day. For some of you in Kentucky, you haven't seen a drop yet. We are watching some of the heaviest rainfall stretching from Butlerville all the way into Henry County in Kentucky and over into Oldham County. So keep that in mind. Back towards Floyd County, this is where we have our storm tracker right now. Basically drove into the core of that downpour in Floyd County. So if you're traveling in between Cordon and New Albany this morning, giving you that heads up. More of that heavy rain from Jasper back into Perry County. And in the metro, we're getting in a couple of those spotty showers. But yeah, some of the heaviest rain right now near Georgetown to start off the day. That flood watch mainly in Indiana through 1 p.m. Watching rain chances actually going up as the rain becomes more widespread through the late morning hours and towards lunch. And once we get into later on this afternoon, we're talking some more of these scattered showers and thunderstorms in our forecast. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so very much. And at 7:01, things not looking too bad for your Thursday morning commute. Good morning to you. We are keeping our eyes on a couple of areas right here around the Highlands. We had a disabled semi-tractor trailer that has just been cleared, so that icon will be dropping off. We are keeping an eye on the Snyder right at 150, kind of near Fern Creek. We have a little bit of patchy backup there. It's kind of stop and go, so certainly watch your speed in that area. Otherwise, no major issues as of right now. Your Metro traffic camera is looking pretty clear for the commute. We'll keep you posted throughout the duration of your morning. Over to you.
Thank you. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran are escalating after a reported naval strike in the Indian Ocean.
Sri Lankan officials say a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship off the southern coast of Sri Lanka. The vessel has been identified as the frigate Iris Dina, which was reportedly returning to Iran from an eastern Indian port. Officials say rescuers responding to a distress call recovered dozens of bodies near the port of the city of Gale, while more than 30 survivors were pulled from the water and taken to hospitals. Dozens more people are still missing from the roughly 180 crew members who are believed to be on board. The strike is among multiple vessels the U.S. Department of Defense says it has targeted amid the growing conflict with Iran.
And now as we enter day 5 of the Middle East conflict, the death toll continues to rise. Reports are saying so far more than 1,000 people have died.
Closer to home, the deaths of 6 American soldiers are felt and support continues pouring out. The last 2 names of the 6 U.S. soldiers killed in a drone strike at a command center in Kuwait were released by the Pentagon. This morning, Wave News reporter Marissa Burke joining us now to share more about their roles in the war and their connections to Fort Knox. Marissa.
The soldiers were identified Wednesday were Major Jeffrey O'Brien and Chief Warrant Officer Robert Mazan. The other 4 have been identified as Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore, and Sergeant Declan Cody. The 6 soldiers killed were assigned to the 103rd Sustainment Command. That's an Army Reserve unit headquartered in Des Moines, Iowa. Their role was to make sure that soldiers directly involved in combat have the supplies they need to execute their mission, which included supporting the Fort Knox base 1st Theater Sustainment Command. In Radcliffe, city leaders are working with Fort Knox to see how they can support the mission and the families impacted. Wave News was able to talk to a retired officer who shares that post communities understand the importance of rallying around families of the fallen.
When you are stationed away from your home and away from your family, your military community becomes your family. And the community that surrounds Fort Knox is family.
Fort Knox officials acknowledge and recognize the 6 soldiers' ultimate sacrifice. Here's part of the statement they released, which reads in part, quote, "They were the ultimate ambassadors for freedom. They represent the best of what our country stands for. May God grant their families peace and comfort in their memories. We will never forget them," end quote. In Washington, a war powers resolution was voted down in the U.S. Senate. That resolution would have given lawmakers an opportunity to demand congressional approval before any further attacks are carried out, but it failed by a 47-53 vote tally. And that vote fell mostly on party lines, though Republican Senator Rand Paul voted in favor of the measure. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thank you, Marissa. And some political experts say they're going to be paying attention to how the ongoing war will influence upcoming elections. Some economists argue an uncertain future outcome creates economic doubt, fear of spending, and that would have ripple effects on the U.S. economy. Political experts say if the doubt lingers into this summer or fall, it will more than likely dominate voters' top concerns in the midterm elections.
A majority of Americans clearly say they want an internal focus, and they want to focus on their expenses and their ability to own a home and have a future.
Since the war in Iran started, some JROTC program instructors have received emails from regional directors saying instructors and cadets should carefully consider when they wear their uniforms. The goal, according to leaders, is to avoid having civilians believe the cadets are active service members out in public and protecting the cadets in case someone wants to hurt them.
Maybe some of the larger towns across the nation are experiencing protests and other things where maybe the smaller places are not. The safety of the kids will always be first. So I keep that in mind when we make the decision about wearing the uniform or not wearing the uniform.
It will be up to each school's JROTC program to determine its cadet uniform policy.
Happening today, friends, families, and loved ones will meet to mourn former NFL player and local high school football star Rondale Moore. The 25-year-old was found dead in New Albany in February. Officials say he died by suicide. Moore played for New Albany High School before transferring to Trinity High School, where he won state championships with the Rocks in 2016 and 2017. He went on to play at Purdue and was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL. Moore's visitation is today from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Northside Christian Church in New Albany. A funeral for Moore will be held Friday at the same location, and he will be buried at Fairview Cemetery.
Police have made arrests in an alleged chop shop ring in Louisville's South End, which involves more than $3.5 million worth of stolen cars. The people you see on your screen are the 5 who have been arrested so far. Detectives found the stolen cars and parts at 4 locations around Louisville. Some of those vehicles were stolen from multiple states and Canada. LMPD also found guns, drugs, and a device used to steal cars that actually reprograms key fobs. Investigators say more arrests could be coming.
You can see that this is a litany of cases that we put on these people, and we are hoping that this puts a dent in some of the car thefts that we have in the area, as well as keeps these people in jail for a significant amount of time.
Police say they found what's worth $650,000 of stolen property. Chief Humphrey also says flock license plate cameras helped officers track the stolen cars.
New details in the case of a man accused of killing another man and torturing a dog in an old Louisville apartment. JCPS confirmed the suspect most recently worked as a school security monitor. 55-year-old Charles Gerlach appeared in front of a judge. He's been in the hospital after an arrest report says he jumped from the 4th story of an apartment on West Ormsby Avenue. When officers then investigated the apartment he jumped from, they found a Chihuahua dead in the sink and then found a man who had been killed behind a mattress in the closet. Gerlach is charged with murder, abuse of a corpse, and torture of a dog. The judge gave Gerlach a bond of $1 million and appointed a public defender, and that public defender asked for a reduced bond. The judge refused. If the bond is posted, Gerlach will be under home incarceration and ordered to have no contact with the victim's family or animals.
As JCPS leaders make cuts to offset a $188 million budget shortfall, we've learned 30 early childhood classrooms will be closing. According to a letter, JCPS is moving toward what it calls a center-based model for early childhood education. It reads in part, quote, some early childhood classrooms will continue in elementary schools to meet community needs and maintain strong connections with local schools. The letter goes on to say this transition also frees up space in elementary buildings to better serve K-5 students while ensuring every child learns in a safe, nurturing environment. The letter then lists 10 locations closing before the 2026-27 school year. They're on your screen right now. JCPS plans to keep 18 sites open, including a new center in the Buchel neighborhood. We should learn more details about early childhood enrollment around late May or early June.
And still to come this morning, there's a new study that shows drinking coffee in the morning may do more for your body than just wake you up.
We'll tell you the benefits of coffee and show you the research next on Sunrise.
I'm enjoying my second cup of coffee right now. And there's a new study that shows your morning cup of coffee may help lower your risk of dementia.
Rob Wells is here with the findings. Rob.
Olivia, good morning. The research just published in the Journal of American Medical Association followed more than 130,000 people between 1986 and 2023 and found that people who drank 2 to 3 cups of caffeinated coffee or tea per day had an 18% lower risk of dementia compared to people who drank little to no caffeinated coffee. The coffee drinkers also showed a lower rate of cognitive decline. Dr. Greg Cooper with Norton Neuroscience Institute says that the findings fit into what we already know about how caffeine and coffee may work together to help the brain.
Caffeine, believe it or not, may be involved in metabolism of amyloid and tau. These are 2 of the proteins that we see in Alzheimer's disease, so it may help with that. Caffeine actually might lower inflammation in the brain, so it may be helpful in that way. And something that I learned is that caffeine can even be involved in insulin resistance. So there are a lot of potential mechanisms how caffeine may work. Now,
and Dr. Cooper says that there are many ways for people to protect your brain as you age. A healthy diet, physical, mental, and social activity, and good sleep are all key to supporting long-term brain health. So go ahead and have that extra cup of Java this morning. It may do a lot more than just help to wake you up. Back over to you.
Love it. Good news, right?
Tawana had a really interesting question here.
Does the amount of amount of creamer and sugar that you put in your coffee undo all the good stuff? Because I load it up.
With sugar and cream?
Oh, my coffee is pale.
Is it really? I drink it mine just black.
I think I'm somewhere in the middle, so we've got a nice transition there with our coffee colors here.
Did you read about that, Rob? Do you know the answer?
No, but all I'm saying is I like a nice light latte. So anything that sweetens it up or whatever, it's not the best, but you got to have some fun.
You got to have some fun, exactly. Right? But for me, apparently I have a lot, too much fun. Which is why I usually stick to tea. For those of you heading out this morning, we do have the storm tracker traveling across the metro area, and that rain has been an issue in some parts of Floyd County, Clark County. It is torrential rainfall that really has been slowing down traffic, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. The storm tracker still on 64. It looks like traveling through portions of Floyd County to start off the day. The flood watch in place for those of you in Indiana and in Trimble and Carroll counties until 1 p.m. because this is where we've seen nearly 2+ inches of rainfall over the last 2 days. For those of you further to the south, you've barely seen any rain really over the past couple of days. Most of the rain has been confined along and north of the parkways, and this is where we're still dealing with the majority of that rainfall, seeing the rain really coming down from parts of Henry County and the Carroll County up towards Butlerville, back towards Bedford, south towards English and Leavenworth, and we're seeing more of that heavy rain towards Jasper as well. In the metro, some of these showers and thunderstorms have been clipping, especially the northern portions of Louisville, so anywhere from parts of the Portland neighborhood through downtown Louisville and back towards Prospect, you're also seeing some pockets of heavy rain to start off the day. This is still because of this stationary front that is now starting to drift a little bit further to the north as a warm and cold front this morning. Keep in mind that low will push off towards the east, and this is what's going to help to bring some more of those showers and thunderstorms our way. Your temperatures right now are in the 50s and low 60s across most of the region in the metro. We're seeing 60 degrees right now in Sellersburg, 64 in the Shepherdsville, 59 in the Douglas Hills neighborhood, and same thing for those of you in PRP. But once you get into the afternoon, we're going to climb back into those upper 60s and low 70s for highs as we watch for more rain on the way. So let's talk about this rain. For most of the morning, it's going to be confined to areas along and north of the Ohio River. This is what we're going to see through the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour. Then we get past that, and this system starts to shove the rain a little bit further to the south, which is why by lunch today we are expecting that widespread rain across our region. We head into the afternoon, going to keep that rain pretty widespread till about 2, 3 o'clock. After that, the rain chances do drop off. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, though, will still remain in the forecast through the evening, and it's not till very early tomorrow morning that we start to dry out. This is because the system will still be nearby. So we'll watch for some of these isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms around for your Friday morning, but that's mainly going to be an issue for those of you along and north of I-64. We get into the afternoon on your Friday, drier with some sunshine coming around. So on top of the already 1 to 3 inches of rain that we've seen across wave country, we could add on an additional 1 to 3 inches by the time we are done with today. So that means by the time the week is over, the work week is over, we could see around 6 inches of rainfall in some parts of wave country. And that does not even include the additional rain we are expecting on your Saturday, with more of that moving in by the late morning into the afternoon on your Saturday. Moving out, though, by Sunday morning. So Sunday, still looking pretty good. We'll take it. Getting further into next week, rain chances going up for your Tuesday and Wednesday, and it will be a lot cooler towards next Thursday and Friday. Olivia.
Thank you, Tawana. A resolution that would require President Donald Trump to seek congressional approval for future U.S. military action against Iran has failed. Senate Republicans rejected the War Powers resolution Wednesday night, with Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joining almost all Democrats to advance it. Democratic Senator John Fetterman voted with Republicans to block it. Even if the measure had advanced, it faced an uphill battle on Capitol Hill, where it would have likely faced a presidential veto if it even got that far.
Senator Mitch McConnell took to the floor to share his criticism of the resolution. He argued recent U.S. operations are an attempt to end a nearly half-century war initiated by Tehran. McConnell cited years of presidential military actions, including President Ronald Reagan's strikes on Libya to President Joe Biden's operations against the Houthi. He also defended President Trump's use of force, calling it a bold and tough decision intended to transform the Middle East.
But there are risks involved. And I hope his administration will work to explain the connection between the commander-in-chief's worthy objectives and the military and diplomatic means to achieve them. Connecting ends and means is the essence of strategy. And it's important for the administration to explain to the American people how they intend to do so. In turn, our colleagues in the minority have a response.
Senator McConnell will go on to warn the U.S. military is currently unprepared to face aligned adversaries on multiple fronts due to budget failures and industry delays.
Officials say executives from defense contractors are set to visit the White House tomorrow. They say the gathering is to talk about ramping up production as the war with Iran continues. President Donald Trump claims the U.S. military supply of munitions is virtually unlimited, with some sources saying allies in the Middle East are worried about dwindling stockpiles of interceptor munitions used to defend against drone and missile attacks. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem faced more questions from members of Congress on Wednesday regarding her position. During the hearing, Noem took questions about the aggressive tactics of her immigration agents and clashed with lawmakers about who's being prioritized for deportations. Many questions led back to the deaths of protesters in Minnesota.
It is not my role as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security to conduct investigations at the federal level.
I'm asking who was it that instructed your agents to deny access to the crime scene to state and local law enforcement
I
agents?
wish there would have been more local law enforcement there that day. The reason that
they were there, but your agency
was because
prevented them from accessing the crime scene.
Supporting.
Who was it that gave that order to deny access to the crime scene?
Sir, I don't make those decisions.
In her testimony, Noem also addressed the effects of the Department of Homeland Security shutdown, which began when funding lapsed in mid-February, saying more than 100,000 DHS employees have been furloughed. An update on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, now missing for 32 days and still no apparent break in the case. According to the Pima County Sheriff, a pair of gloves found roughly 2 miles from Guthrie's Tucson home were traced to a local restaurant employee not connected to the crime. The investigation is still looking into other pieces of evidence sent to a lab for DNA testing. The sheriff told NBC News on Tuesday he believes investigators are making progress.
Still ahead, the Louisville Metro Council passed a resolution to keep graffiti off local monuments.
The steps they're taking to keep the King Louis statue clean.
The Louisville Metro Council is moving forward with a plan to pay a company to clean the graffiti off the King Louis statue. A resolution approving a contract for $205,000 passed the Labor and Economic Development Committee Tuesday with a unanimous vote. The money was already approved in a prior budget. The Louis statue was removed from Jefferson Square Park during the 2020 protests after it was spray painted and a hand broken off. During the committee's discussion, some council members asked if it would be more cost effective to just order another similar statue. The resolution sponsor argued the goal is to preserve history.
This is a connection to history, now hundreds of years of history. It is the namesake of our city. The history of the statue is actually quite interesting, right? And now the protests are a part of that, right? The vandalism is a part of that. So if we just threw away things that, cost something to repair, because we can replace it for cheaper, then we'll have no connection to our history.
Right now, the 250-year-old marble statue is in a city-owned storage facility. City leaders have not decided where it will go once it's restored. Some have suggested it needs to be displayed indoors to prevent further erosion from the elements. The resolution now heads to the full council. We'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Friends, families, and loved ones will meet to mourn former NFL player and local high school football star Rondale Moore. The 25-year-old was found dead in New Albany in February. Officials say he died by suicide. His visitation is today from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Northside Christian Church in New Albany. A funeral for Moore will be held Friday at the same location. He will be buried at Fairview Cemetery. Here's meteorologist Tawana Andrew, and another day, more rain.
Yeah, we're watching, of course, that rain all across our region. The storm tracker now coming off of the Sherman-Minton Bridge and heading back towards downtown Louisville. And you can see how wet the roads are as we have been dealing with these rounds of rain moving through areas along and north of the Ohio River. This is also where we have the flood watch still in place until 1 p.m. today. These showers and storms have been producing some torrential rainfall anywhere from portions of Carroll County back into Washington County in Indiana and south through the Corden area back into parts of Breckinridge County. In the metro, that moderate to heavy rain still showing up in many spots. So remember to keep those lights on and take it slow. As we head throughout the rest of the morning, continuing to monitor more of that widespread rain through the late morning and into the early afternoon. As the afternoon wears on, our rain chances will drop off, but these scattered showers and thunderstorms will remain in the forecast for this afternoon all the way into early tomorrow. Rob.
All right, Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:28, keeping our eyes on a disabled vehicle. It's right at the split there, right at 264 at Freedom Way. You see them right off to the side there. So certainly if you're approaching that with the pavements out there as they are, just give yourself a lot of extra time and space in that area. Otherwise, the big picture not looking too bad right now. Still watching a disabled vehicle at the Waterston Expressway eastbound on Bardstown Road. Make it a great morning. We'll see you in 25 minutes from now.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Thanks so much for staying with us here for Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell. With all the rain, it's hard to think about soccer season just around the corner, but coming up, we'll have a preview for both Lou City and Racing Louisville's seasons ahead. Plus, we will show you the Woodford Reserve Derby bottle. It was just unveiled yesterday. But first, we want to start with the latest from the Middle East. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran are escalating after a reported naval strike in the Indian Ocean. Sri Lankan officials say a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship off the southern coast of Sri Lanka. The vessel has been identified as frigate Iris Dina, which was reportedly returning to Iran from an eastern Indian port. Officials say rescuers responding to a distress call recovered dozens of bodies near the port city of Gale, which more than 30 survivors were pulled from the water and taken to hospitals. Dozens more people are still missing from the roughly 180 crew members believed to be on board. The strike is among multiple vessels the U.S. Department of Defense says it has targeted amid the growing conflict with Iran. Meanwhile, the American military against Iran as it continues on, more action is expected in the coming days. Iran has responded with strikes of its own, including at least nearly a dozen U.S. installations. On Wednesday, the Pentagon identified the 2 remaining U.S. service members who were killed in a drone attack in Kuwait on Sunday. The Pentagon says 45-year-old Major Jeffrey O'Brien and 45-year-old Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzin were killed. Major O'Brien is from Iowa and Chief Warrant Officer Marzin from California. Officials say recovery of the 2 likely took longer because of the condition the building was hit. O'Brien and Marzin were both supporting the resupply and sustainment of troops in the Middle East. Their names of the other 4, Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens and Nicole Amor, and Sergeant Declan Cody. They were part of a reserve unit headquartered in Des Moines, Iowa. It's operating under direction from the Fort Knox-based 1st Theater Sustainment Command at its operational command post in Kuwait. Wave News talked to a retired officer who shares that Fort communities understand how important it is to rally around the families of the fallen.
Freedom isn't free, it's expensive. And we should be proud of our military who serve selflessly, who volunteers to serve, to represent all of us. They are about 1% of our entire nation that chooses to represent all of us in a time of conflict. And there's nobody that wants peace more in this world than the U.S. service member.
We reached out to the 103rd Sustainment Command. They could not confirm if the reservists had been at Fort Knox before deploying to Kuwait. Back at home, Central High School was placed on a temporary lockdown after reports of a suspicious person trying to get inside the building. Police arrested 33-year-old Derek Mosley for criminal trespassing and disorderly conduct. A police report says officers found Mosley outside trying to get into the front entrance of the building. The report says he forced his way through the door, forcing officers to draw their weapons before he was removed from school grounds and arrested. The letter was sent home to families regarding the incident. Central's principal says all students were safely moved to the cafeteria and the large gym during the lockdown, and no students or staff were hurt. The Louisville Metro Police Foundation has announced the launch of the Repeat Offender Initiative. It's a foundation-facilitated effort to strengthen coordination, transparency, and accountability across Louisville's public safety ecosystem in support of violent crime reduction. The initiative was aligned with Safe Louisville and will focus on 3 pillars: rehabilitation and prevention, intervention and accountability, and lastly, enforcement and public safety. The foundation will be supported by and create the Violent Repeat Offender Commission, an advisory board that provides a structured forum for discussion and analysis related to violent repeat offenders. Lawmakers are trying to clarify a law that limits communication between Kentucky teachers and students outside of the classroom. The original law was passed to monitor communication to protect students. House Bill 67 passed out of a House Education Committee. The proposed law hopes to make things easier for teachers. When Senate Bill 181 became law last year, it banned non-traceable communications between school employees and students. It also requires schools to create at least one type of communication that is traceable. House Bill 67 expands the definition of family members in a student's household, better defines who is a coach, and also exempts students who work at the schools over the summer. The bill also allows teachers to interact with students while they're on a second job, or if a student contacts them while they're in an emergency situation. It also allows exemptions for teachers while on field trips.
She was really upset because they were late coming back from a field trip. She had 60 students on a field trip, and the bus location pickup was in a different area. Couldn't find some students. She just wished she could have called them and said, meet at this particular location. The location's changed. Instead, she couldn't or felt like she couldn't. So this bill clarifies that in that situation, she most certainly could.
The bill also allows for teachers to comment on public social media posts of students. There's now a little more than a month before the end of Kentucky's legislative session, but the State House wasted no time in passing a bill that will protect domestic violence survivors when it comes to custody cases. House Bill 418 is not final yet, as it still has to pass the Senate, but it passed the House by a vote of 96-1. The bill says if the court finds a parent in a custody case has committed domestic violence or abuse, it can't cut parenting time or remove custody from the non-abusive parent. Right now, the court assumes that joint custody is in the child's best interest, but House Bill 418 says if a parent has committed 2 or more acts of domestic violence or abuse, the court must assume that joint custody and shared equal parenting time are not in the child's best interest. So to get unsupervised visitation back, the parent must complete parenting classes, attend a certified batterer's intervention program, go through mental health assessments, and have participated in supervised visitation. After these steps, the court will hold hearings to allow unsupervised visitation to restore custodial rights. The bill also puts more requirements in place for professionals in these custody cases, including having training in certain areas like child and adolescent development and dynamics and effects of domestic violence. Under the proposed law, professionals must have 16 hours of training in these areas before providing services and 8 hours of training annually. Today, a courtroom in the Jefferson County Judicial Center will be dedicated to Judge Benjamin F. Shobe. That'll happen at 3:30 today. The state-of-the-art space is built to host a jury pool, trials that require more space than is available in a standard courtroom, courthouse ceremonies, and oral arguments before the Kentucky Supreme Court. Judge Shobe died at 95 years old on January 29, 2016. Former President Barack Obama sent his condolences in a letter praising Judge Shobe's strength of character, determination, and commitment to justice. The American flag at the U.S. Capitol was flown at half-staff in his honor on the day of his funeral. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will tell you about that new Woodford Reserve Derby bottle that was just released yesterday. It is beautiful, and I'm sure it tastes great too. Stick with us.
Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with the check of your Thursday forecast. After starting off the day with the majority of the rainfall in Indiana, we will see that rain pushing into Kentucky as we get into the early afternoon. Now, these rounds of rain will stay with us through the afternoon into this evening. These showers and thunderstorms can produce locally heavy rainfall. They can produce some gusty winds and even in some cases some small hail. So don't be surprised if you see that happening in your area. Rain chances continue to gradually drop off overnight tonight into early tomorrow. Most of your Friday trending dry with highs in the upper 70s and low 80s. So we could be breaking some record highs tomorrow. Then we roll into your Saturday, even more of those showers and thunderstorms, especially for the afternoon and evening. Quiet for your Sunday and Monday before we watch rain chances going up on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. That more substantial front next Wednesday will help to bring some cooler weather back into wave country.
Well, that Friday is going to feel extra Friday-like.
82? I don't know if I'm ready for it yet.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Are you ready?
I am ready for it. I don't mind it. I think everyone's going to be outside tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
I already made plans to swing by my parents' house, grab my golf clubs, and try to hit the range on
The
Friday.
flowers are going to be like, do we pop out now? Is it time? What's going on? Mother Nature's playing a game on us once again.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, let's think back to football season because IU football coach Curt Cignetti given Indiana's highest honor. I think he
Love
deserves
this.
it
Absolutely.
every everyone on board with this. Governor Mike Braun awarded Signetti with the 2026 Sachem Award for leading the Hoosiers to a historic undefeated season and the national championship win. The Sachem Award is for people who have shaped Indiana through character, leadership, and service. Only one award is presented every year, and that recipient is chosen by the governor of Indiana. The entire team has been named the Sagamore of the Wabash to celebrate their winning season. They certainly earned every award they got this season.
I think it's great. He's usually so stoic and you didn't see a lot of emotion, but by the time when they were heading to Miami, I mean, he was just all beaming and excited for his team, for the whole community, for the whole camp.
Well, he had the Signetti stare, and now he's smiling. He's happy.
He knows who he is and he's made his mark. Good for him.
Well, we are counting down to this year's Run for the Roses, and Woodford Reserve just unveiled their commemorative Derby bottle for 2026.
Can you feel the excitement? The design is called Dress to Impress 152. I like it already. Artist and U of L graduate, that's Anna Murphy, says she was inspired by Derby hats, fashion, and colors found throughout years of celebrations. She says she leaned on her signature color palette, that would be blue and gold. Murphy said that her family has a personal tie to the pageantry because of one past Kentucky Derby in particular.
My dad is from England and he came to Kentucky for the Derby of 1983 for work, and he met my mother there. So the Derby for me is personal, and this is a wonderful career milestone for me.
How do you like to drink your bourbon?
Good for her. I love that jacket alone. That jacket is cool,
And
right?
the jacket matches,
I mean,
too.
it's all working together. By the way, this year's Derby bottle is also the very first Woodford bottle to feature gold foil on the label. Woodford Reserve is the Derby's official bourbon brand and the one used to make mint juleps served at the track. Cannot wait for one of those, or maybe two.
Yeah, right. Have you had one before?
No.
It's your first Derby. You've got to try one.
I cannot wait. The first for so many things.
Right. So, okay, spring break right around the corner. A lot of people are hopping on planes, and this is something really interesting that United Airlines has announced a new policy change for its passengers.
Yeah, I
You've
don't know.
probably been on a plane where someone's listening to music, playing a game with the volume on full blast. Well, now headphones or earbuds are not just proper etiquette, it's now a requirement. Any United Airlines passenger who blasts the audio from their devices or refuses to wear headphones or earbuds could be banned permanently. They're taking some serious action here, not just like, hey, we're going to kick you off this flight, banned permanently. The airline lists the new rule as a safety issue for everyone on board. I think it's safety because maybe some fights break out.
The question we had this morning during the show, the TV portion of our broadcast, is it the same for adults and children? Did you have it same for everybody? I guess it has to be one for one, one for all.
Yeah, it makes
right?
me wonder if, that would be enforced on the parents. Hey, put headphones on your kids. But a lot of kids do grow up wearing
With
the
the
headphones.
headphones.
So they're kind of used to it. I think a lot of times the problem really lies with the adults. So we'll have to see how that pans out.
Well, you know who would never argue with anybody on a flight? That would be the Brady kids, the Brady Bunch.
Yep.
The California house, by the way, that starred in the Brady Bunch television show, it stands as more than just TV history. It's now a historic cultural monument. Let's see here. The designation is the result of a unanimous vote by the Los Angeles City Council. The 2,400 plus square foot home on West Dilling Street was used for exterior shots of the legendary television sitcom. The show ran from 1969 through 1974 and has lived on through reruns and watched by several generations. Last year alone, the Brady Experience allowed the public to take a tour inside the rooms where Mike, Carol, and all the kids lived.
Did you watch the Brady Bunch?
Loved it. Still use it today. I call it comfort TV. It's like, were we ever at a time where it was that simple? When it was just about Marsha.
Yeah, I mean,
Where did those days go?
hey, maybe a visit there would bring you back to old times.
Field trip. We'll put it on our planner.
Well, Rob, thank you so much for joining us. We're going
Bet.
to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some postseason basketball action. Plus, we're getting ready for soccer season right around the corner. We'll have a preview of both Lou City and Racing Louisville coming up in just 2 minutes. Well, this was some sad news that came out yesterday. Legendary college football coach Lou Holtz died. His family says he died Wednesday in Orlando, Florida at the age of 89. The cause of death hasn't been released yet. He coached 33 seasons at 6 schools, including NC State, William & Mary, and Arkansas, but is most well known for his time at Notre Dame, where he was the last coach to lead the Fighting Irish to a national championship in 1988. Holtz also spent 1 year in the NFL with the New York Jets. He won 249 games over the course of his decades-long career, and 100 of those wins came from his time at Notre Dame. He retired from coaching in 2004 while he was at the University of South Carolina. Well, UK women's basketball team started the SEC tournament in dominant fashion in the first-round matchup against the Arkansas Razorbacks. This one was all Cats from the very beginning. UK jumped out to an early 16-7 lead. That was followed by a Kentucky 11-0 run, extending that lead to 20 just in the first quarter. The Razorbacks cut into that lead just a bit, with UK taking a 9-point lead into halftime. That was as close as the game ever got, though. Kentucky would run the score up on the Razorbacks, winning this one by a final score of 94-64. This marked their largest margin of victory in an SEC tournament game. So Kentucky now moves on to the second round with another early game again today. The Cats facing off against 8 seed Georgia at 11 a.m. and you can watch on the SEC Network. The winner of today's game will move on to take the tough 1 seed South Carolina. That game will be played on Friday. Indiana also had a tough matchup yesterday in the Big Ten tournament being played in Indianapolis. They faced off against the 12-seeded Nebraska Cornhuskers. So this one didn't start well for the Hoosiers. Just 5 minutes in, they found themselves down by 12. That would extend to 14 by the end of the first quarter. It continued to get worse in the second as Nebraska's lead grew to 20 before halftime. But the second half was all Indiana. They started their comeback in the third quarter, took the lead with just 57 seconds left in the game, and free throws would go on to be decisive. Indiana won it by a score of 72-69. It marked their largest comeback in the Terry Morin era. So Indiana now moving on to the second round, where they'll face off against the 5-seeded Ohio State Buckeyes. Tip-off for that one will be 25 minutes after the first game of the day ends. That one starts at noon, so you can watch it on the Big Ten Network. We're cheering for them. Hey, it was a great year for their football team. Might as well make it a good year for their women's basketball team as well. Well, Bellarmine men's basketball team was looking to keep their season alive, playing in the first round of the ASUN tournament, taking on Jacksonville. This one was back and forth from the very beginning. Bellarmine went on a run, scoring 10 straight points to go up 17. That was their largest lead of the half. The Knights went into halftime up 15 points. Bellarmine opening up the second, taking a 19-point lead before Jacksonville mounted their comeback. They took the lead, went up by 5 with just 6 minutes to play, and it ended in a back and forth contest here late in the game. The Knights, though, were able to regain the lead, and they won it with free throws. Final score, Bellarmine 82, Jacksonville 79. The Knights will take on the top seed Central Arkansas Sugar Bears tomorrow at noon. Once again, you know I am cheering for my alma mater in this one. Go Knights. Well, looking at some high school basketball action, the postseason for the boys high school basketball continues tomorrow in the 7th region, and there are some rivalry games in this one. The night will kick off with a semifinal matchup between the boys schools Trinity and St. X. That'll be played at 6 p.m. That game is at Valley High School. The Tigers knocked off Central in the quarterfinals by 55 points. The Rocks narrowly beat Eastern 64-63. Then for the second semifinal of the night, that'll be between Ballard and Manual at 8 p.m. Ballard squeaked out their win against Mail by just 2 points, while Manual defeated Wagner by a final score of 60-51. Winners of these games will meet in the championship. That'll be played next Monday at 7 p.m. We have some incredible talent coming out of Louisville, so it'll be exciting to see those games. Lynn Family Stadium will soon be rocking as Lou City and Racing Louisville are kicking off their season soon. Sports reporter Dusty Baker has a preview for both squads.
The 2026 soccer season will be packed with action on the pitch. Of course, the World Cup is coming up. But before we have that, Lou City and Racing Louisville kicking off their 2026 seasons. For Lou City, they are trying to chase yet another Players' Shield. They've won back-to-back Players' Shields, but they still remain in search of the ultimate prize.
We're certainly not satisfied with the way that the last two seasons have ended there in the playoffs.
While Lou City captured their second straight Players' Shield in dominant fashion, the boys in purple were bounced in the first round.
I think we learned a lot in the last 2 years, really.
Now for Danny Cruz and his squad, the mission is clear: turn regular season dominance into a playoff run that actually lasts.
The experience that the players have gone through have certainly put us in a better position.
As for Racing Louisville, 2025 was a historic one, with the club reaching the postseason for the first time in franchise history.
Doing what we did and achieving what we achieved last year, we climbed that mountain.
The bar has officially been raised, making the playoffs no longer the goal and instead the expectation.
But now we've met that. But now pressure is a privilege, and that's kind of what we've been talking about in the locker room.
There is some hardware here as well for Racing Louisville, of course, winning the Women's Cup this past season, but they too are in search of the ultimate prize of winning a championship after punching their ticket to the playoffs just a year ago. Both Lou City and Racing kicking off shortly. Lou City on Friday on the road at Lexington, Racing on the road on the 14th at North Carolina. Reporting at Lynn Family Stadium, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports.
So those seasons kicking off this weekend, but Lou City's home opener will be on the 14th. Racing's will be on the 20th. So exciting and so awesome to see all the sports that are ramping up here in Wave Country. That's all the time we have here for Sunrise Extra. I hope you have a great Thursday. Get through this rain. Tomorrow will be a beautiful one, especially because it's Friday. Have a great day.